Hey guys, my name is Faizan Khan, and in this video we are going to see how we can build this universal search bar. We can either search anything on Google or DuckDuckGo, which is also a search engine which keeps user privacy. And we can also search something on Amazon and YouTube. So let me search something through voice on Google. Python programming language. So this is how we got a result, and from here we can visit this website. Next, let me search through DuckDuckGo. Here I have to select this. Who created Python programming language? So here we are getting result through DuckDuckGo, and we can visit any website to see who created Python. And now let me search some product on Amazon, and this time instead of speaking, let me write the text here. HP laptops. We can either hit the enter key to search, or we can click on the search button. And the last one is YouTube. Let me search my own YouTube channel. Coding lifestyle for you. So this is my YouTube channel from where you can learn different Python projects. Now let's see how we can build this application step by step. Firstly, we need to download Python interpreter. For this project, I'm going to use a different Python version. Open your web browsers, and there you need to type download Python 3.6.0 and hit enter. Go to this first link and go down. Here you will see this Windows x86-64 executable installer. Just click on this. The downloading will start, and once it is finished, just click on this setup file. Since I have already installed it, so I'm getting a window like this, but you will be getting a different window. And here at the bottom you will see add to path, so you have to tick that. After this Python interpreter, you also need to install PyCharm IDE, where you will be writing your code. So open a new tab. Here simply write PyCharm download and visit this first website, jetbrains.com, and you have to download PyCharm community version. Once you have installed PyCharm, you will see icon over here. Just double click on it, select new project, give a project folder name. From here you have to select Python version that we just downloaded, which is this 3.6.0, and then simply click on this create button. Once your project setup is done, you will see a window like this. Here what you need to do, just right click on this folder name and go to new, select a Python file. Here you need to give a name of your Python file inside which you will be writing your code. First of all, I will be creating this graphical user interface. So I have this window inside which I have these labels over here, then this entry field, then these buttons and these radio buttons. And to this title bar, we will see how we can add image and provide title to it. So all these things can be created with the help of tkinter module of Python, which is inbuilt. So in our main.py file, we need to import it. So I'm going to write from tkinter import asterisk. This line means that we are importing all the classes and the methods which are present inside this tkinter module. So this tkinter is basically a file inside which we have classes and methods. Those classes and methods help us to create graphical user interface in an easy manner. For creating a window, we just have to create object of tk class. So this is how we create object of the tk class. This tk class is inside this tkinter module, and here object variable is this root. This object variable helps us to use methods of this tk class. So all the methods which are present inside this tk class can be accessed with the help of this root object variable. So inside this tk class we have a method that I can access with the help of this root object. So root dot main loop. This main loop method simply keeps our window on a loop so that we can continuously see it. If I run, right click and run, you can see we are getting a window. This is the by default width and the height of our window. I will be providing same width and the height which I have used in my original project. Make sure you write everything between these two lines only. This geometry method of this tk class helps us to provide width and the height to our window. Here this 660 is the width, 70 is the height, 100 is the distance from the x-axis and 100 is the distance from the y-axis. This is how it looks. So this is the 100 distance from the x-axis and this is the 100 distance from the y-axis. After that, let's add title to our window. For adding the title on our title bar, we have this title method inside this tk class. To this title method, we have to pass the title in the form of a string. Now let's add mic image on our title bar instead of this flag which is by default here. I have provided you the source code in the description of this video. From there you can copy those images and paste by right clicking on this folder name and select this paste option. So here I have these 3 images and 2 music files. The image that I am going to add on the title bar is this icon.ico. This is 32 x 32 ICO image. So on the title bar we can only add ICO images and not PNG or JPEG images. So I have used this icon bitmap method and here I simply pass this image name icon.ico. So as you can see, the image is successfully added here. After that, I need to provide light gray background color to our window, and also I will disable this maximize button so that no one is able to change its width and the height. Just like here, it is disabled, so width and the height cannot be increased. Config method is used to provide background color to our window, and resizable method is used to disable the maximize button so that width and the height cannot be modified. To this method we pass false value for the width and the false value for the height. You can see the background color is light gray and the maximize button here is disabled. Now we need to add this query label on our window. So here I have created the object of the label class for creating a label. Why do we create objects of the class? So that we can access the methods which are present inside this class. To this label, firstly we have to mention that where you want this label. I want this label on my window. So we have to pass object of our window. Next, what text will be on this label? Then I added font for this text and the background color will be light gray. So this is how we create a label. And after creating a label, we also need to grid it so that we can see it on our window. So where you want to grid it? At row 0 and column 0. Why row 0 and column 0? Because this is the first label getting added on our root window. There is nothing there, So when we are adding this label, this is the first thing getting added on this root window. So that is why row and the column value is 0 here. Just next to this query label at column 1 and row 0, we will be adding entry field inside which we will be writing our question. So this question field is created with the help of entry class, and here also I have created object of this class so that we can use this grid method present inside this class. I have provided 45 width to this entry field. Then whatever text you will write inside this entry field will be in this font. Then I added border and the styling to this border, which is sunken. Row will be 0, as you know it has to be in the same row where this query label is, and the column value will be 1 because I want this question field to be just next to this query label. I have also added pad x equals to 10, so this simply gives horizontal spacing between this entry field and this label. Now just next to this question field, we have to add mic button, which will be at column 2 and row will be 0. I want to add this image on my button. So firstly we need to load this image from here inside our code. For that we have to use photo image class, and we need to mention the file name, which is this mic.png. And here also we need to create object of this image, which will be nothing but mic image. So this variable represents this image. After this I can create a button, and on that button I'm going to add this image. So this is our button, which is created with the help of button class, and on this button I have added this image, mic image. Let's see. So here we got our button. Now I want to remove the border of this button, and also when I bring my mouse pointer on this button, it should change to hand symbol. So firstly let's put the border to 0, and then I will add cursor equals to hand 2 symbol. So now let's see, if I bring my mouse pointer on this button, it is changing to hand symbol, and the border here is now 0. If I click on this button, you can see the white color. This is known as active background color. I want to change this active background color to light gray. Active background equals to light gray. Now you will not see that white color. Just next to this we have to create the search button, which will be at column 3. So on that search button I have added this search.png. So I'm going to use this image only. So again, firstly we need to load this image in our code with the help of photo image class like this, and now we can add this image on our search button. So firstly let's create a search button. This search button is similar to this mic button. I have only changed column value here and added pad x, and make sure you change the image to search image. Right now when I am clicking on these buttons, nothing is happening because I have not added any functionality to these buttons. Now we need to create these 4 radio buttons. Radio button is created with the help of radio button class, and the text for this radio button is Google. I am also providing this value Google and this variable temp. I will explain this value and variable keyword arguments later on. This ttk is an extension of tkinter module, and radio button class is not inside tkinter module, but it is inside ttk module. So we can use this class with the help of ttk. So we need to import this. Here I'll write from tkinter import ttk. Now this error is gone, and here this temp is not defined, so let's define this. This is a tkinter variable, so here I'll write temp equals to string var. So this temp variable is a string variable, and then instead of grading this radio button, I'm simply placing it, because I want this radio buttons at these specific positions here. So when you want anything at specific positions, then you use place method instead of grid. From x-axis, this radio button will be at 75 distance, and from y-axis it will be at 40 distance. Let's see. In the same way, we have to create 3 more radio buttons. Let's run. These radio buttons are not similar to our original radio buttons. Here I have applied styling. So let me use that styling over here also. So here at the top, to apply styling to our radio buttons, we have to create object of style class. And this style class is also present inside this ttk module. After that, which styles or themes that you can apply, I can print that to show you which are supported on Windows. This line is not required. This I am only using to show you which themes we can use here. And then to use any theme, we can use this theme use method of style class, and to this method we just have to pass the theme name, which is default, that I have used in my original project. So let me just run this so that you can see the print output on this console. So these are the themes that you can apply. So I have used this default theme. You can see default theme looks like this. So our GUI part is ready now. Let me just remove this print statement from here. So what I did, firstly I created object of a style class, then I used one of the method of this style class, which is this theme underscore use, and to this method I have provided the theme name, which is default. Firstly, I will work on the functionality part of the search button. So whatever you will type here inside this entry field, and if you click on the search button, you will be getting the result. So let's see how we can do this. I am going to provide a command to this search button. So whenever you will be clicking on this search button, this particular command code will be executed. So let's define this command here at the top after these import lines. So I'll write def search. Inside this search function, firstly we will check which radio button is selected. So here you see we have 4 radio buttons. So firstly we will have to check which radio button the user has selected, and accordingly we will show them the result. So how can we check which radio button is selected? I told you I will be explaining this variable and this value keyword argument later on. So this temp variable will simply store this value Amazon in this case, and here this temp variable will store this duck. Similarly here this will store Google. So suppose you selected Google check button. In that case, inside this temp variable we will have this value Google. So inside this function I will check if temp dot get equals to Google. Inside the temp variable, if the value is Google, then this condition will become true. So whatever you are going to write on this entry field, that should be searched, right? So for searching anything on browser, I'm going to import one inbuilt module, which is web browser. This is inbuilt module, so we do not need to install it. After that, we just have to open whatever the user will search. To this open method, we have to mention the URL of whatever we are searching. Since we are searching something on Google, so let me open my web browser. If you search about Python, so here we need to copy this URL from here till here. If I remove this extra part, it won't affect anything. Still you will be getting the same result. So just copy this URL from here, and inside this open method we need to pass this, and instead of searching Python we will search whatever is written inside the entry field, right? So I'm going to make this string as a f string so that I can use variable with this string. So inside this curly braces I will mention the variable, and the variable is this question field. Okay, so whatever will be written on the question field, I will simply get that. Let's see. Firstly, we need to select this Google radio button, and then inside this question field we will be writing anything. Suppose if I search about Python and click on the search button, so on the web browser we are able to see the result. In the same way, we will check if this DuckDuckGo radio button is selected. If it will be selected, then to this open method we will pass the URL of this DuckDuckGo to search anything. Right now nothing is happening because we have not applied the condition. So here I am going to apply a condition if temp dot get. This time if inside the temp variable we will have duck. I don't know what value I have passed there, let me check. Yeah, the value I have passed is duck. So if inside this temp variable we will have this duck value, that means you have selected DuckDuckGo radio button. In that case, on the web browser I am going to open DuckDuckGo URL. So let me open my web browser again, and this time I am going to search for DuckDuckGo search engine. Open this first website. This is a DuckDuckGo search engine. If I search about COVID-19, so this is the URL in which we are interested. So this is extra, so we can remove this, and till here we can copy this URL. If you search this URL again, you will be getting the same result. So inside this open method I am going to paste that URL, and I'll make this as a f string. So instead of COVID-19 I will be able to search anything which is inside this question field. Let's run and search something on DuckDuckGo. So firstly select it, and here you can type. Right now the enter key will not work. We will have to click on this search button to search anything. We will bind the enter key later on. So here you can see we are getting the result. In the same way we will search anything on amazon.com. So open a new tab. Here just type amazon.com and search for anything from here. So this is the URL in which we are interested. So just copy this URL and go back to the code, and here firstly we will check what is inside this temp variable. So temp dot get, if inside the temp variable we will have Amazon, this is the value that we added, right? In that case I will open the web browser, and here I will pass that URL. Now if you see, our search is here, mobile phones, right? So we just need to remove this, and in place of this I'm going to mention the variable, and the variable will be nothing but whatever will be inside my entry field, that will be inserted in place of this question field dot get method. Let's check. So if I search about HP laptops, so we are getting HP laptops here. And the last one is this YouTube. So I want you to do it by yourself. So pause this video and try to find the URL by yourself. So I hope you did this step by yourself. Now let's search something on YouTube. I'm going to search my own YouTube channel. So here we go. We are getting the result on YouTube. So I hope you have understood the functionality of this search button. Suppose if you don't write anything on this entry field and directly try to click on this search button, so we are not getting any result here. The reason is because there is no search query, right? You have not added anything on this entry field that can be searched, right? So what I want, if there is nothing on the question field, in that case I simply want to display a message box that nothing is there on the text field, right? So I'm going to import message box at the top. So from tkinter import ttk and message box. Now you can use that message box here. So firstly we can check for the condition if question field dot get method is not equals to 0. If this is not equals to 0, then only I'm going to execute this particular code. If the question field will be empty, then we will simply go to the else part, and in the else part I'm going to show the message box. So I'm going to use this message box module dot show error method. To this method, firstly we need to pass the title. So the title will be error, and next thing is the message will be there is nothing to be searched. Let me show you. If I don't write anything on this entry field and directly click on the search button, nothing is happening. I made a mistake. So here instead of question field dot get is not equals to 0, it will be not equals to null string, right? Because there cannot be 0, there can be only null string or some string. Now we are getting this. There is nothing to be searched. Here by default no radio button is selected, but if you will run the original project, here you can see Google radio button is selected by default. So I'm going to use this temp variable and I'm going to set Google as a value to it. So now by default you will see Google selected there. And one more thing, let's bind our search button with the enter key. Then you will also be able to search anything by pressing the enter key. So here I'm going to bind my window with this enter key, right? And the enter key is represented like this, return. So this is nothing but our enter key. So whenever you will press this enter key, I'm going to call one function, which is this enter function, and I need to define this enter function. So I'll be defining this just above this line, def enter underscore function, and this function takes argument. So whenever you press the enter key, some value is passed, so that value I can store inside this value variable. If you will not pass this value variable here, then you will be getting an error. And inside this enter function I'm simply going to invoke our search button. So I'm going to write search button dot invoke method. So whenever you will be pressing the enter key, this search button will automatically be pressed and you will see the result. Let's try. If I search about JavaScript, and hit enter instead of clicking on the search button. Here I am getting the result. And now let's see the functionality of this mic button. So right now I'm clicking on this mic button, nothing is happening because I have not added any functionality to it. So what I want, when I click on this mic button, whatever I am going to speak, that text should be entered inside this entry field. But this previous text should be deleted first and then the new text should be inserted here. And the searching should take place without pressing the enter key or clicking on the search button. So I'm going to provide a command to this mic button. So here I have this mic button. I'm going to provide it a command equals to voice. So this is basically a function that we need to define. So I'm going to define this just after the search function. So here I'll write def voice. So basically we have to convert our audio into text and that text will be inserted on the question field, right? So for converting audio into text, we have an external module which is a speech recognition. So go to your terminal. Here you need to type pip install speech recognition. Make sure you write the correct spelling. So once this is successfully installed, next thing which you need to install is PyAudio. So pip install PyAudio. Write this command and it will be installed successfully since you are using Python 3.6 version. In the above version, you will be getting an error. So make sure you use Python 3.6.0 version. And now we can import speech recognition. So here I'm going to write import speech recognition. So inside voice function, firstly we need to create object of recognizer class. So that recognizer class is present inside speech recognition module. So we can create object like this, and this SR is the object variable. This will help us to call the methods which are present inside this recognizer class. After this, we need to create object of microphone class. So this is created with the help of with keyword. This simply helps us to avoid exceptions or errors. So here this M is the object of this microphone class. Then I'm going to create try and except block. If there will be any exception that can be handled, right? So I'll simply pass if there will be any exceptions. Exception can be like your voice is not recognized properly. In that case, this except block will be executed. Otherwise, this try block will be executed. And inside this try block, I'm going to use one of the method of this recognizer class, sr.adjust for ambient noise. Here we need to pass this microphone object and the duration, which is 0.2. So this is the duration between sentence 1 and sentence 2 that you will speak. If you want to speak a sentence and if you take 0.2 second pause, then whatever you will speak after that will be treated as a different sentence. After that, whatever you will speak through microphone, I will store that in audio variable. So our recognizer object SR will listen whatever you will speak through microphone, right? And that will be stored inside this audio variable. And then this recognize Google method of this recognizer class will recognize this audio and will convert that to text, and that text will be stored inside this message variable. So we have the message, and now I can insert this message onto my question field. So I'll write question field dot insert method, and at the 0th position I'm going to insert this message. And before inserting, if there will be anything on the question field, firstly I will delete that from start till end, and then only I will do the insertion. Once the message is inserted onto my question field, then we can simply call this function, and whatever code is written inside this function, this code will be executed there also. So let me just call this from here, search. Now let's run and see. Let me search something on Google. What is Java programming language? So it's great. We are getting the result here, right? One more thing, when I click on this mic button, I want to hear this music1.mp3. And when we finished speaking, I want to hear this music2.mp3. So here I'm going to use one more external module. So go to your terminal. Here you need to type pip install pygame. After installing it, now we can import it from pygame, import mixer. So this mixer module of pygame help us to play audio. So before playing any music, firstly we need to initialize it. So mixer.init, and then we can use this to play any sound. So inside this function, I'm going to write mixer.music.load, and here we need to mention the file name that we need to load, and the file name here is music1.mp3. and after loading the music, then we can play it. So I'll write mixer.music.play. So you will hear this sound whenever you are going to click on the mic button. After that, I want to hear this music2.mp3. So just after this line, I'm going to write like this. So that's it for this project. I hope you understood it. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.